Secrist. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you. I got started with Baz Life Slim in June of 2011, not expecting it to work for me because I failed at everything, failed at every diet. When I started using it, I was about 305 pounds. And right now, here we are in November, and I'm at 252 pounds. And escaped going into gastric bypass surgery. And being a black female, and just like a lot of overweight black females in the United States, I know that I'm experiencing a lot of the symptoms that the black community experiences. You know, we love to eat, and I'm a West Indian also. So, you know, there's a lot of foods that I enjoy to eat. But what I love about Baz Life Slim is the fact that I don't have to give up my culture. I can still be Jamaican, but I don't have to jump into the pot. I can still be who I am, and not, the food doesn't talk to me anymore. There was a time when I would look at, I'd look at a pot of oxtail and the pot would talk to me. It'd say, jump in and you can immerse myself, you can immerse yourself in me. But now when I look at it, the pot says, you can have one. And that's all I'd want. I would like to be able to spread that word to the black community and say, you know, we can still eat our soul food, but we don't have to immerse ourselves in it. And I'm not sure how to approach the black community about this product because, you know, it's difficult to get into the culture of the community when it's so embedded. You know, I look around and I see that every event is, you know, it surrounds the food.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Oh, sure.
And so, with Baz Life Slim being such an important component of my day, when I go and I try to speak to someone who is from my culture, they tend to say, this is what they say to me, oh, I'm just big bone. I can't help it. I just look like this because my mom is big, so I'm gonna be big. No, is that true? Am I supposed to be just big as I am? Is that just normal?
No, you bring up a couple of really good points, Desiree, and that is, you know, our westernized culture, whether it be U.S. or, you know, anywhere in North America or now the globe that kind of adopts that westernized culture of eating, and so people, I mean, people do events centered around food. The food becomes the centerpiece of the reason people tend to meet for whatever reason. I mean, think of church groups, for example. I mean,
Right.
there's always lots of food there. And so I don't meet too many skinny pastors or clergy,
Right.
it seems,
Right.
because there's so much food, and they will tell you that that's a problem for them because there's so much temptation there or what have you. And so many of us, I think, live to eat instead of
Right.
eat to
Eating
live.
to live, right?
Yeah, and so it's easy to just take that extra bite or extra portion or extra serving because we don't, you know, have maybe as much self-control as perhaps we're willing to admit that we probably have. And so one of the great things about Baz Life Slim is it empowers you to be able to push the plate away very soon and say, I'm full. You know,
Yes.
it doesn't require behavior change. It doesn't require you to exercise. It doesn't require you to change your diet. You just start using it just like it already is, and then what happens is people start feeling better, and then it changes their desire to want to do it. All of a sudden now they start feeling like they want to go exercise. You know, we've heard people say the mind is willing but the body's weak.
Yeah.
Well, this helps the mind be willing and the body not be weak, and so now you've got the energy and you want to go do it. And so all of a sudden it becomes your idea that you want to go for a walk, which further accelerates the results. And then when you know, you just mix it up with a little bottled water or what have you, right before you eat, and then all of a sudden you're saying, you know what, I'm done, I'm full a little bit, or so you push the plate away sooner. And then you start wanting to select out different foods that are actually healthy for you and eat more of those, so you kind of begins changing your internal desires.
Mm-hmm.
So that transformation occurs from within, and then it helps change, you know, really the way you're eating, the way you're doing things, and then it becomes permanent.
Right.
That's why so many people have been able to lose 40, 50 pounds like what you described for you, and more.
Right.
I've got some patients down 120 to 140 pounds over a year using BioSlife, just because it's kind of helped reteach them, recoach them, retrain them to eat better and be more active, and it's changed their lives, and now it's been permanent for that long period of time.
And this is not limited to any culture, any
Right.
race,
Anybody can use this.
any lifestyle.
There's no limitations on age group. I mean, I don't know that I'd give somebody, less than age 2, but to have something that takes you basically from cradle to grave, or 3 or more years of age, all the way up to, I'm sure there's people in their 90s using it. And the health benefits it gives are just tremendous, so broad spectrum.
And so with type 2 diabetes, when you talk about type 2 diabetes is the type of diabetes that you get. It's not something you're born with.
Mm.
And you get type 2 diabetes because of your lifestyle. Am I correct with
Absolutely.
that? I'm learning that. It's something that I'm not familiar with. I was fortunate enough not to have type 2 diabetes. I wanted to have the gastric bypass because my mobility was becoming, I was not able to move as much.
Mm.
I mean, I tell my husband, I'm getting whiplash now when I turn in the bed because I'm turning so fast, It's the little things are making such a difference, being able to get on a plane and not ask for an extension.
Mm.
When you get on a plane, that's huge.
Mm.
Sitting in a seat and not having my hips touch on the side. Those are huge things. When you sit in a church pew and you're in a seat where, you're not bumping and trying to wonder, can I fit here before you sit down? That's huge. These, your circulation isn't being cut off when you sit in a stool. These are huge things that you don't have to worry about. So mobility is a big thing for me. And but with type 2 diabetes, can you explain to me the differences between the 3 types of Slim and how they work?
Oh, sure, yeah. So the BioSlife Slim family is really 3 major formulations. So on one, if we look at a spectrum, if we put one side of the spectrum is cholesterol improvement, and we put the other side of the spectrum glucose improvement, there's 3 separate formulas. So one formula called BioSlife C is about 75% effective. 75% of its effectiveness is targeted on cholesterol.
Mm-hmm.
25% improvement on blood sugar. Because remember, cholesterol, diabetes, blood pressure, they're all interconnected.
Correct.
So if cholesterol is more the issue, gravitate more toward BioSlife C, BioSlife Complete. If diabetes is more the issue, you want to choose BioSlife Slim G for like glucose. And that's 75% of its targeting is going on the glucose and only 25% on the cholesterol. And if both are big concerns, like it are for a lot of people, usually the top selling BioSlife Slim right in the center,
Okay.
and that's 50-50. 50% coverage on cholesterol, 50% coverage on blood sugar. And so personally, I use all 3. I'm not diabetic and I don't have cholesterol, but I use all 3 from a prevention standpoint. I see examples all day long, Desiree, of situations and conditions and problems that people have that I don't personally want. And for me to just think, well, if I just, take care of myself, rewrite, or cross my fingers and exercise, to think that I won't end up that way is naive.
Right.
And so I use this intentionally, actively, in a proactive way to take it so I don't develop that.
So you don't have to have these conditions, and you don't have to be overweight to take
You don't have
Slim.
to. And so I take it as a prevention standpoint. Now, granted, if I didn't take it, I bet you my numbers would be higher than they are.
I see.
And so I do monitor that on a regular basis for me to make sure, and it's fabulously, working well. So, but because, even though it's a prevention intention on my part, it works well from a treatment standpoint. So you can use this even if you have these conditions. We're not out treating medical illnesses with this, although the pharmaceutical grade properties ends up treating it. That's not maybe our intention, but if it helps, and then you lower the need for the medication, people are saving money.
Mm-hmm.
They're saving money because they're eating less food.
Exactly.
They're saving money because they're not buying snacks because they don't want the snacks anymore. They're saving money because their medication needs have been reduced because their underlying issues and cause by focusing on healing have reduced the need for the medication. So they're saving money there. And they're investing in their long-term health by doing something intentionally, proactively, that's going to prolong not just their life, but the quality of their life. So it's not what it costs people to use it, it's what it costs them to not use it.
Absolutely.
And then have to come around and try and fix it later on.
And you're eating
with
less, so
medication.
you're saving money in the long run. You're going to save a lot of money. There are many people that have actually told me that their bills go down. I mean, if you're spending, one person has told me, they were spending $200 a week on groceries, and their bill has gone down to $50 a week, just because they're not eating as much food. So you can afford the product. On a monthly basis, you can afford the product because you're going to be spending less on food.
I mean, just case in point, I have a patient now who's down 126 pounds over the course of a little over a year. And he certainly needed to lose that. And he's got a little bit more to go, and that's his goal and his desire, and I support that. But he told me that the very first month he started using Balance Life Slim, that his wife, who is Asian and very meticulous and takes specific records, a real sharp pencil, they saved over $400 on their food budget the very first month. And so I said, hey, John, what are the chances are you're going to quit Balance Life anytime soon? He goes, never. He goes, I'll use it the rest of my life.
Right.
Because it's transformed his whole life.
And it's natural.
His
It's
body.
all
Exactly.
natural
Oh, yeah.
products. There's nothing in there.
He's
that's
off his
synthetic.
medications. He doesn't
Right.
need them anymore.
It's all natural.
Yeah, so he just keeping on going,
I thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for this. Appreciate you.
You're welcome. Never done before.